So I was recently commissioned to make the Blade of Marmora from Voltron Legendary Defender, and while I was making it, I encountered a problem that I quite often have when translating 2D weapons into real life. Now before we go on, can I just say, if you're a fan of Voltron, please don't be mad at me. I like Voltron, okay? It's a good show. A while ago I made a video about one of the characters, Keith, his sword, and why it wouldn't work in real life. Most of you are nice, some of you got very mad at me. Let's just chill, okay? Voltron's good. Anyway, let me try and explain the problem I had by giving you an example. Let's say you're filming a live action movie, you have a character with a sword in a battle stance, and you want this red part of the sword to be seen in the shot. What you're gonna have to do is manipulate the position of everything around the sword, change the actor's position, change where he holds his hands, maybe even change the camera angle to make sure you can see that red bit of the sword. Now let's say you want to film another shot where the character's handing the sword off to someone else, but you still want that red part to be seen. Again, you're going to have to manipulate the actor and his surroundings and maybe even the camera to make sure it is visible. Now a problem like that gets tackled very differently when it comes to 2D animation, because in animation you don't have to manipulate things around the weapon. You can manipulate the weapon itself. Take a look at these two shots from Voltron Legendary Defender. This is the same character holding the same blade in scenes from the same episode. Look at how drastically different the design of the blade is. The purple area needed to be visible in both shots, so the artist simply altered the design of the blade itself for that to be possible, which leaves us with two pretty different looking weapons. This actually happens in animation more than you might think, but if you're just watching it for enjoyment, well, it's not really that much of a problem. But what is a humble prop maker like me to do? I can take 5 different screenshots and get 5 slightly different versions of the same weapon. Which version is the true version? If someone emails me and says, hey, can you make this for me? Which version am I meant to make? There are other more obvious problems you encounter when translating 2D weapons into real life. When I made the huge warhammer from the comic book I Kill Giants, the problem I faced was the fact that the weight distribution of the hammer as it was seen in the comics just wouldn't work or be able to be lifted by any normal person in real life. Now that's not to say the artists were idiots and had no idea how weapons worked. It's meant to be outlandish. It was never meant to be made into real life. It's a fantasy weapon. The fact that it's unrealistic is what makes it so fun to look at on the page. Either way, I was left with a choice to make. I could have made the hammer out of something like foam, which would have been light enough to allow me to make the hammer more accurate to the huge design seen in the comics, but then it would have been quite delicate and weak and not really functional. I could have instead made it out of metal. Then it would have been really functional. I could smash a bunch of stuff with it, but I would have had to scale down the design to get it to a weight that was actually liftable by a human. What I did in the end was make it out of wood and hard plastics. I kind of got the best of both worlds. It was light enough to be made quite large, but heavy enough that it could smash some stuff. You could say though that because I tried to make it a little bit functional and a little bit accurate, I didn't really make it functional or accurate enough. I got comments from people who love accuracy saying it wasn't accurate enough to the comics, but I also got comments from people who love functionality saying it wasn't strong enough to smash stuff like the one in the comics did. So what's your opinion on the matter? As a prop maker or someone who makes real life versions of weapons seen in animation, what do you do? Do you focus on functionality and not care about the accuracy shown in the animation, or do you make it as accurate as possible, even if it means the prop won't actually work like the thing seen in the animation it's from? Also, I want to thank my latest patron, Jonathan Robertson. Jonathan, you donated enough to get to the perk where I make a pun insult of your name in a video. So, Jonathan Robertson, more like Jonathan, I'm robbing you, son, of your money via Patreon. Sorry, that one wasn't that good, but if you want me to make a pun insult of your name, then you can donate $2 on Patreon and that will be done to you, for you. To you. Also, like I mentioned, this was made on commission. Someone just emailed me and said, hey, want to make the Blade of Marmora, and we talked about price and design and stuff, and then I did it for them. My email's in the description. Feel free to email me with any commission ideas you might have. Keep in mind I might say no if it's something that I just don't like, or if it's something that I've made like 100 times before, because then I just get bored and I just don't want to do it again. I'm not really doing a good job of marketing myself, am I? Email me if you have a cool idea. I might do it, maybe. Anyway, see you later.